Good morning. I'm George Kahn, and this is Quiet Echo for Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. I want to tell you about a woman named Gloria Gaynor, not the singer. This Gloria Gaynor is 91 years old. She came to America from Jamaica in the 1960s with 2 children and a dream. She worked hard. She bought a house in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, a modest 2-story brick home, and she paid off the mortgage. She raised her family there. She's lived in that house for nearly 25 years. Now she's bedridden with dementia, and she's being evicted. The reason? She missed one property tax payment during COVID. The amount she owed? $3,500. The value of her home? $247,000. Here's what happened. In 2020, when the pandemic had everyone scared, Mrs. Gaynor stayed inside. She was elderly. She had underlying health conditions. She didn't want to risk catching the virus, so she missed her annual trip to the tax office. The next year, when things calmed down, she went back and paid, but that payment wasn't applied to the previous year's balance. It went to the new year instead, and that original debt, $3,500, started growing. Fee. Penalties. Interest. By the time the county took action, it had ballooned to over $14,000. In September 2022, Delaware County sold that debt at a tax auction. An investment company paid $14,419. And under Pennsylvania law, buying the tax debt transfers ownership of the property. Let me say that again. They paid $14,000. They got a $247,000 house. Mrs. Gaynor's attorneys fought it. The courts ruled against her. Now the new owners want her out. Her daughter, Jackie Davis, told ABC News, "She's in a hospital bed. Are they going to lift the bed up with her in it and take her and put her on the steps?" I want to be clear about something. Mrs. Gaynor had the money. She wasn't destitute. She wasn't refusing to pay. She was an elderly woman with dementia who got confused during a pandemic and didn't understand the notices arriving in her mailbox. Her attorney said it plainly, this is stripping generational wealth from a family. This is a sole asset that the mother had to pass on to her children. She was going to leave that house to her grandson. A foundation for the next generation. That's the American dream. Or it's supposed to be. The company that bought her debt has acquired 62 properties at Delaware County tax sales since 2011. They're not doing anything illegal. That's the problem. The law allows this. In 2023, the Supreme Court ruled that governments can't keep surplus profits from tax sales. But Pennsylvania found a workaround. Sell properties for exactly the value of the debt, so there's no surplus on paper. The equity still exists. It just transfers to someone else. I've talked before on this podcast about neighbors looking out for neighbors. The folks in Altadena who knocked on doors during the fires. The communities that rebuild together. That's what we're supposed to do. But what happens when the system itself becomes the predator? When a 91-year-old grandmother can lose everything she built because of a payment that went to the wrong year. This isn't about whether people should pay their taxes. Of course they should. This is about proportionality. This is about basic decency. This is about whether we're going to let the law be used as a weapon against the most vulnerable people in our communities. Here in Cedar Valley, we don't have tax lien sales exactly like Pennsylvania's, but we have elderly neighbors on fixed incomes. We have widows in homes they've owned for 50 years, watching their assessments climb. We have people who might not understand the notices in their mailbox, or might be too proud to ask for help. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Check on your elderly neighbors. Ask if they need help with paperwork. Make sure they understand their tax bills. Offer to sit with them when the notices come, because the system won't protect them. Only neighbors will. Gloria Gaynor is lying in a hospital bed in her living room right now. The house is full of family photos and china cabinets, a lifetime of memories. There's a sign in her entryway that reads, "May blessings from above fall upon this home." She came to this country with nothing. She built something. And now, because of $3,500 and a system that rewards predators, she might lose it all. Look out for your neighbors. That's all I'm asking. I'm George Kahn, and that's today's Quiet Echo. Thanks for listening. George Kahn, Teresa Nikas, and the whole Cedar Valley community first came together in Quiet Echo. When loud voices divide, quiet ones bring together. If you want to know how a small town found its way from fear to fellowship, one quiet act of courage at a time, you can find it on Amazon. Link in the show notes.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time, keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open.